Welcome in to another episode of Talkin Badgers, and we got a jam-packed show for you tonight because it's mailbag time, and it's all about listener questions. This Saturday, the Badgers are going to host number 3 Penn State for homecoming at Camp Randall Stadium. Fun fact, Wisconsin has not lost a homecoming game in Madison since 2012, and in fact, all 10 of those wins have come by double digits. Wisconsin owns a 4-4 record in their last eight top 10 home games dating back to 2010. See if they can keep that going. How are we doing here, fellas?
Doing lovely. How are you?
Doing all right. We got a couple interesting questions ahead of us tonight. Had a little bit of time to review these just before we hit go. Gonna get right after tonight though. Jay, gonna throw this one over to you. This one's from Herb Herman. How will the Badgers plan to stop short yardage Warren at quarterback plays? And Penn State loves to run pick routes on 3rd down and 4th and 6. Do you think that is something our secondary can manage?
So this is my debut mailbag episode. So happy to be back. How I like them to play it and how I think they'll play it is probably two different things. But mainly watching the Packers, I'll say I love when like Jeff Hafley's just been bringing a lot of pressure. And we've said so many times that the secondary is like the specialty or the strength of this Badgers football team. I'd like to see them like crowd the box almost regardless of down and distance, play man on the back end, and bring minimum 6 guys most of the time. I honestly still am not all that impressed with Drew Aller. I'd like to see him actually beat the Badgers with like making throws into tight windows and making throws downfield while pressuring him. Like I think if they get him, off his first read, it could be a long night for him. And I think the Badgers could have success. We know that this defense isn't going to get home with only rushing 4 guys or 3 guys. So I would like to see them play a lot of man and bring a lot of pressure.
I love where your head's at. Yeah, Jeff Hafley dialed up an absolute gem this past week, and the Packers don't have a lot of guys that are winning one-on-ones, and yet they absolutely ate up C.J. Stroud. So I'm with you on that. I think I absolutely love that. Ryan, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I 1,000% agree with Jay. You got to bring pressure because I think the biggest thing is when you have quarterbacks that are not the most accurate, like Aller is not, you bring pressure and you make them get the ball out of their hand quickly, because then not only do they have to process quickly, but then they have to throw very, very on target and timely passes. I feel like if you just sit back there and allow him to kind of work, they're going to find open guys. So I think a lot of it is a lot like the Packers model. Obviously not a Packers fan, but I can appreciate good defense from Hafley. And a lot of times your quarterback's not going to be able to throw the ball down the field if you don't have time. So especially if you're running, like I think Herb asked 3rd and 4 to 6 range. So you're looking at like 3rd and medium. I mean, as long as we're not lined up at 7 or 8 yards, like a yard or 2 past the sticks, and just let them run in front of it, I think we're already kind of cooking with gas there. But, I mean, at this point, with all the 7-on-7 that these guys play, they're so used to pick routes, I don't even know if that's necessarily anything that concerns them anymore. They all kind of know how to defend it at this point. It's just whether you can execute it or not. But, yeah, I say bring pressure a lot. And like Jay said, see if they can actually – Buddy can throw it down the field, because – I have a lot of thoughts on this guy, and I don't know that any of them are positive.
Coop, where's your head at?
Must be nice to be a fan of an NFL team who's actually somewhat competent. That's my first thought. Just an absolute disaster down in Irving, boys, or Arlington. My thought on Aller, I mean, hard not to agree. I feel like that's with most quarterbacks. Some people look like Jared Goff this year. If you blitz him, you're toast. But if you're getting pressure, I mean, even back with Tom Brady when he was playing, what do you want to do? Make him move in the pocket. Don't let him sit there. It goes, like I said, it goes for most quarterbacks. Aller's completing 70% of his passes right now. 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, averaging 10 yards per completion. So, like you guys just said, like if we give him any amount of time, he's going to carve us up. Not that he's going to beat us deep, but he's going to make enough throws and most likely not hurt them in the turnover game. I know we've seen him go off the rails before with that, but I'm with you. I think our secondary is good enough. You got to play man coverage and kind of stack the box. You can't let this team run on you, else we're cooked. If the run defense against like our first three opponents shows up on Saturday, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, I think the secondary is absolutely the strength of this defense. And in a game like this where, yes, they're number 3, I feel like, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but like this might be one of the more attainable games against a number 3 opponent. Drew Eller, somebody who his greatest strength is his decision-making. And you're going to have to apply pressure. You're going to have to come up with some creative ways to get after him and make him make a mistake. But we got to lean on our secondary, and we've got a lot of guys in the back end. And so if there was ever a game for them to be leaned on, I think this might be the one.
Yeah, and I've talked quite a bit of shit this year, and I feel like about the Badgers, and I feel like rightfully so for the most part, when being a little negative on how the season's gone. Obviously, the past few weeks were on the uptick, but like generally, teams who are unranked aren't only 6.5. I know they're at home, but Penn State's only favored by 6.5 in this game. And when you looked when we played Alabama at home, what were they, a 14.5 point favorite?
Almost, yeah. It was at least 14. I think it was like 16, 17.
Yeah. So that tells me a lot there about what Vegas is thinking.
Yeah, the line has moved quite a bit. It started out at I think I saw it at 10.5 or 11, and it's already down to 6.5. So it's moved.
Well, I think a lot of that though is they're really trying to get Wisconsin money. I saw something earlier floating around the Twitter streets that was saying that like 86% of the money and like 97% of the bets were on Penn State. So obviously that's going to drive that number down. I like to see what it opens at. But speaking of numbers, I'm not going to do any math on my abacus this week, but I just pulled up Aller's numbers, and to be honest, I don't know what to make of it. Like I can't tell if he's a really good quarterback or a really bad quarterback. I know I don't really care for him. But if you look at 2022 and 2023, he had 59.9% completion, 58.3% complete. So he's not even a 60% passer, but he had 29 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Now you look, that's really good touchdown to interception ratio. But then you look at this year, he's got a 70% completion percentage, so almost 10% better. But he's got 11 touchdowns and 4 picks. So he's completing more passes to his own team and to the other team. So
well,
I think he's going to give you
like
those
what Jay said, like he's not stretching the field. Those are your your
but
10.
He's still throwing it to the other team. He threw 2 interceptions in 2 years. Now, obviously, 2022 he did little scrap yards, but he threw 2 interceptions last year. He's already got 4 this year. So even if he's only checking it down and letting his playmakers work, he's going to give you some opportunities. Well, so if you pressure him, you're going to get a lot more opportunities.
To be fair, I have not watched. I think I've only watched one Penn State game. 3 of those could have been off someone's hands. You never know.
And 3 of them were at USC. So 3 out of the 4. The other one was at Bowling Green, or against Bowling Green. World beaters from the MAC.
Gave them hell.
That's true. That was only a 7-point game in Happy Valley, or Unhappy Valley, depending on how you look at it.
So this next one is going to kind of piggyback off, the opening question about Penn State. This one's coming to us from Playmaker 127. It says, if we win this week, how would you rank the top of the Big Ten? So obviously this would be the signature win of the Luke Fickell era if they were able to pull this off. I mean, number 3 Penn State at home, that would be huge. So I want to kind of give my opinion on this one real quick, and you guys can tell me how wrong I am after. So if Wisconsin was to beat Penn State, I would put them at 5 in the Big Ten, behind Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, still Penn State, even if we beat them, and then us, because I do not believe in rankings. I only believe in ratings. Just because we beat them does not all of a sudden mean that I think that we would beat them on a neutral field, more often than we wouldn't. That wouldn't take anything away from actually beating them. But if, would Vegas on a neutral field next week give the Badgers better odds to beat Penn State? No, they wouldn't. No. They absolutely would not. And so I believe in ratings, not rankings. Penn State would still remain over Wisconsin for me, but that would be enough for me to bump Wisconsin over Illinois.
I mean, sometimes the better team loses. That's just football.
Absolutely.
Any sport.
And it doesn't make them a worse football team. Just did on that day.
Yeah, I think I would categorize it almost as like tiers. I think it's like there's a clear tier 1 that's Oregon and Ohio State, and then I think with a win at Penn State, Wisconsin would kind of move into that tier 2, where they would be, like you said, with Penn State, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and then I think there's a tier 3 where it's
like Iowa,
Michigan. I mean, Iowa's probably a tier 2 team also, but like right now, Michigan State, and then there's 50 piles of shit, and then there's Minnesota.
Yeah, tier of their own. Yeah, I never thought about that. That's actually I like the way Jay kind of morphed that question into.
Thanks, guys. You guys are being really nice to me tonight.
I got to hear about this more about Nairobi. That's what I gotta hear about.
I'm telling you, dude.
I don't know. I think I like the tiers more because, like Dylan said, I absolutely hate rankings unless they're my own. I could literally look at so many of them and be like, well, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And then so I get what you're saying. The biggest problem I have with rankings is at the end of the day, winning games has to mean something. So like when I see AP polls or I see, some doofus doing some, power rankings of the top 25, and you have teams like USC who have 4 losses, who are from the Big Ten, which would probably be, would you say, Jay, they're probably in tier 2? You'd say they're probably with us,
USC right now. I mean, yeah, they'd be the bottom of the tier 2 for me.
Like fringe 2-3.
Yeah, I mean, like
Right.
I would think
frankly,
USC and Wisconsin are about.
I still think I wouldn't put Wisconsin in a tier 2.
I'm with you. Right now, I would not.
Right,
Even
yeah,
if Wisconsin won, I would still have them in a 3rd tier.
No, I think
it's Oregon, Ohio State sitting by themselves. Even if Wisconsin won, I would still put Penn State, Indiana in a tier 2 by themselves. And then I would begin tier 3 with Wisconsin, Illinois, and trickle down.
Damn, the Badgers hurt you, bro.
I just
real bad.
I just don't think that a win over Penn State, and it would be a big deal. I'm not trying to minimize that. I don't think that all of a sudden puts us on an even playing field with them. But I agree with what you're saying in terms of rankings have to mean something. I don't put a lot of stock into them until the season is over. And so week to week, I really only believe in ratings. And I don't believe that I would rate us in the same tiers I would rate them.
Well, that's like
go out and beat them, though. Like that.
Yeah, and it matters. It absolutely.
Well, that's like Appalachian State beat Michigan way back in the day. What did Appalachian State do the rest of the year? No one knows.
But they were better than Michigan
that day. Doesn't mean they're a better team.
But the next week, do you think Vegas was taking Appalachian State over Michigan?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And that's my point in all this. Is it, yes, Wisconsin can win. It absolutely means something. But to me, it is not it's not enough for me to view them as though they are among that tier.
So let me I don't want to go down a huge because we got plenty of stuff to get through. So just work with me here.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 whatever Super Bowl, 18-0 Patriots lose to the Giants. Who's the best team in football that year?
The Giants won the Super Bowl. The Patriots were the best team.
Week 8 of a college football season.
Yeah, probably still the Packers, honestly.
The Giants won the Super Bowl. The Patriots were the best team that year.
Yeah, but when it matters most,
both can be true, Ryan. The Patriots were the best team that year.
I hate two statements that are true. I live in a black and white world.
Yeah, I don't like that just because you win the biggest game, you're the best team.
So
you won the championship. That's what it's all about, but it doesn't mean you were the best team.
I mean, I think baseball is a prime example. I think almost rarely the best team in baseball wins the World Series.
The Royals won a World Series.
So, by that metric, then why do we even play and I'm not going to do the woe is me thing, but why do they play the games? Why don't you just look at recruiting rankings and say, well, this is
about Ryan? It's about championships, but that doesn't necessarily mean you had the best team that year. Like how many stories of dude, I can't believe XYZ team. Like I said, the Royals, I can't believe the Royals just won a World Series. They were not the best team in baseball, but they found a way and they got it done.
But if you won the championship, that proves you are the best. You went through the gauntlet of a season, which you think about the college football playoff, you go through your 12-game season, you make a 12-team playoff, and you win. If you're the 11th seed, you are the best team in college football. I
can agree with that, Ryan. I'm with you on that point. I'm simply stating week 8 doesn't is not proof enough for me. Is where
I'm
I'm
just saying that, I get that it's only week 8, but since it is college football, it's only 12 weeks for 17 weeks. You're 2/3 of your way through your season. Like,
sure.
So I get what you're saying, but it's also like this isn't like a snapshot of like, oh, that was a great regular season of September. Like by the time this occurs, we're going to be just days away from November. That's the last month of the season.
I'm still not going to view Wisconsin as a better team if they win, unless they just absolutely beat the brakes off of them. It's not going to change my mind about them being in the same tier, but it doesn't take away anything from it being a monumental win for this program.
Yeah, and just quick, if I had to tier them, Oregon, Ohio State, and I know they really haven't played anyone. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Give me Indiana in that tier, in that first tier. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Call me crazy.
I love it.
Crazy.
That's fine.
Motherfucker.
That's fine. My second tier, give me Illinois. I know they haven't been playing great lately. I still really like Nebraska, although I hate Nebraska.
They got a top 25 vote this week.
Dude, I love Matt Rule, and it pains me because I fucking hate Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska, you were trying to build a wall this time last year.
I was, and I'll still do it, but I'll get Matt Rule out first. And then, to me, like Wisconsin, Iowa was a toss-up, like bottom tier 2, tier 3. Like that's where it's kind of tough for me. I think if the Badgers win, I'm with Jay. I can put them tier 2 if they win. Like I said, that doesn't mean they're better than Penn State. They'd still be like a tier 1 Big Ten team to me. But at the end of the day, I think Oregon, Ohio State are in a class of their own. And I'm just, like I said, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid out in Indiana, so I threw them in there. But those two teams are head and shoulders, I think, above a lot of teams in the nation, let alone the conference.
Goop, this is one where I'm going to really value your opinion right out of the gate. Just going to throw it right back to you. This one's from your boy Deputy Dong.
Hell yeah!
After coming off a week where he triple donged us.
Triple donged me, dude. First guy ever.
What punishment do y'all think Pedo State realistically should have received?
Death penalty.
Agreed.
It's like, to me, that should have been cut and dry. Death penalty. They should have SMU'd their ass, dude.
Not even the football one. I just think the real one.
That too.
But Brian, what was yours at?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. If anything, it should have been all athletic department. Like, the athletic department should have went through. Yeah. I mean, at some point, like you do a little bit of coke, you have a little fun in Dallas, and then you get a death penalty.
Exactly.
You're doing those things you do, and it's just a bowl ban for a couple of years. Like
you took a couple wins away. Like what?
Right, and then you took down the statue that the alumni made. Like, oh wow, you really showed them.
Yeah.
I'm an eye for an eye kind of guy, so do with that as you will. This next one's coming to us from.
Wait, what?
I was like,
I don't know what that means at all.
Please elaborate.
I think I do.
Those poor children.
This next one's coming to us from Ron Burgundy.
I'm
Ryan. Can our receivers get separation against the Penn State secondary? Pauling was eating against Bama, but no one else could separate.
Yeah, I think they can. I don't think Penn State's as good as people say they are. Like every year we play Penn State, it's a close game. Like we were beating our ass in the championship game. We had Graham Mertz doing Graham Mertz things, and we still lost 16-10. And I would argue that their defensive talent on the side of the ball that year, without looking it up, I'm pretty sure they had at least 6, 7, 8 NFL draft picks on defense. I don't remember who their quarterback was. Was it
was that Hackenberg?
Trace McSorley? Probably. He was there for like 14 years.
I'm thinking about 2021. It was one of those. Oh, Clifford, that bum Clifford.
They're great.
I mean, Clifford and Aller to me are like the same guys, except for Aller's built like a defensive lineman. I don't know. I don't really respect their defense. I
mean, they've given up 87 points this year.
Do we got to go back to the? I don't know if is that good or bad, because I can go back. Is that
pretty good? Pretty good looking at the Big Ten. Yeah.
No, that's true, because Kent State scored 0. Bowling Green scored 27. UCLA, world beaters, scored 11. Illinois, who I also have absolutely zero respect for, scored 7. And then USC scored 30. Like, when they play any team with at least decent talent, they score points. Like Bowling Green, I don't know how they got 27, but USC came clearly back.
Maction did.
I knew you were going to comment on the conference. I just knew it.
You kidding me? How they scored 27? Because we're a fucking MAC football team, brother. They're lucky that's all they scored.
I mean, it's no Sun Belt, but
dude, if they would have played Georgia Southern, we're talking probably a 48-40 win.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they haven't really, like, I know I hate being the guy. I absolutely hate when people go, oh, well, who they played. Because the last 3 weeks we played JV high school teams. Like, who cares? We beat their ass like we were supposed to. But I wouldn't look at some of these scores. I wouldn't look at a 27-11 win over UCLA as beating that ass. I wouldn't look at 34-27 against Bowling Green.
To me, the thing with Penn State, though, and maybe this is just me, and I'd have to look back at the stats. I could be dead wrong. I feel like this is them every year, though, when they're ranked really high. Like, they're going to beat you 27-14, 27-10, 16-8. Like, that's just the kind of team they are, I feel like.
Yeah, frauds.
Call them what you want.
The F word?
But
they're a fraudulent
they're
3. We'll see on Saturday. They're a fraudulent 3.
For the record, I don't argue that fraudulent 3. But that's again, I don't believe in rankings.
Yeah, they're not the third best team. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I feel like this is maybe one of the more attainable games to actually go out and compete and maybe knock off somebody ranked number 3. Jay, do you have any concerns over Badgers receiving core being able to separate?
Well, I think that the Badgers have established a bit of an identity with Tawi Walker that, like, Penn State's going to try to take that away. So it's going to be on the receivers and Braden Locke. And I think almost the same thing where there's a good chance that they're going to be playing a lot of man because they think that their DBs are probably better than our receivers. So I don't know that I could say I'm concerned, but I'm very interested in those matchups because I think that we might actually see a lot of Tretch and Pauling on the field at the same time because those two guys can win.
I would like to apologize to Ryan. I've looked at their schedule the past 2 years. They've been boat racing teams. So
the Will Pauling and Tretch piece I think is really interesting. I was actually doing a little bit of digging today. Will Pauling and Tretch have only played 47 snaps together this season, which is
wild.
You know, and
that's more than I would have thought, honestly.
Luke Fickle talked about
it. You know what, Joe, you're probably right.
The challenge with obviously they're both slot receivers, and it's kind of it puts them in a tough spot because they know who they want to be, and that's a team that runs the football and utilizes tight ends to block, and to put them on the field together, you basically have to show your hand. So I get why that's difficult, but I agree. Those are two guys that together when they're on the field, I definitely feel confident that somebody's going to win a matchup. And the way the offensive line is playing right now, I feel like Locke's going to have enough time if they can get the separation needed. If maybe you hit on one shot to Vinny, how much that opens up. I think the offensive line's going to give him the time. It's really just going to be a matter of, in my opinion, just can Braden Locke take care of the football? To quote the great Ted Lasso, you know what the happiest animal on earth is? A goldfish. Has a 10-second memory. Braden Locke needs to be a goldfish on Saturday because he's going to make mistakes. He's going to put the ball in danger. It's just who he is at this point. He's going to do that in a game. But can he put that behind him, those mistakes? I believe the offensive line is going to give him enough opportunities. And I think that the receiving core has actually started to come along. So I think my answer to that one is going to be yes, I believe they can. Just got to keep Braden Locke upright and make some good decisions.
Well, we talked about earlier how we thought, the defense should play and how it's going to be key. We don't let them run the ball. You flip to the other side of the field, kind of like Dylan, you just alluded to. If the big fellas play like they've been playing the past few weeks, this could be a great game. Keep Locke upright. If we can run the ball a little bit, but it just worries me, their defense. And I don't know. There's just some part of me, I feel better, but I still can't trust this team. But say we beat Penn State by 2 scores. crop my face over Pacino. I was Pacino in The Godfather, where he's like, I thought I was out, but they pulled me right back in. Like, I'm sure I misquoted that, but that's how I'm gonna feel, dude. Like, if we win by 2 scores, I'm all the way back. You're gonna see a different Brandon Cooper, but I think you're gonna see the same Brandon Cooper.
You'll have me all the way back too. I'll be with you. You don't even need to crop my face in anybody. I'll just.
So they have
I'm thinking Sopranos. I'm thinking Sopranos quoted it, but anywho, yeah.
So multiple scores or just win the game?
If they won the game, I'd be
Well,
back in
great, but say we win by like 14 and we're 17 points. Like, damn, we kind of just beat the piss out of Penn State. You win by 2 or 3 scores. That's a fucking kind of ass kicking there, brother.
I would just love to see them win, and more than anything, maybe our defense continue to play. Like, they don't have to, play maybe at the level they have been the last couple of weeks, but if they can show, that they can stifle an opponent like Penn State, I think that would be incredibly meaningful, and it'd give me a lot of confidence going into, the rest of the stretch ahead. I'm not saying that would be enough vindication for me to believe that they're going to be able to do something against Oregon, but like, it's not fair. Like, that's not what we're talking about here. I don't think that they're on that kind of tier, but it gives me a hell of a lot of confidence for the rest of the year. It just to string 4 games together and have one of them be this caliber, I think would be huge. I think it'd be huge.
One thing that surprised me was the over-unders at 47.5. Just look at this is on ESPN, but I thought it'd be lower than that.
Yeah, I would take the under on that for sure.
Yeah, I was to say you got to smack it. Yeah, if you hit the over on that one, you're just an absolute glutton for punishment.
Yeah,
but I'm always a pretty bad gambler. I would say I am 7-0-0 picking the Badgers against the spread this year. And if you had to ask me now, not only am I taking the Badgers plus the points, like I'm looking money line, boys. Like you're talking about if we just beat them, you can crap your head by 14, 17 points. So we got to get someone on the clip art because I think we might need it, big fella. We might need it.
I love it.
Get the clip art going.
I got money line at plus 200 on ESPN. That's just what I'm on right now.
I mean, I'm not putting a mortgage on it, but
yeah,
it's looking pretty appetizing.
Speaking of appetizing, that's pretty much the perfect pivot point for this next question from Badger Theys. Jason, would you rather be baby birded by a stranger every time you eat or only eat cat food for the rest of your life?
Yeah, as somebody who owns cats and has also been baby birded a few times.
It seems like you were the right man to answer.
I'm going to go with baby bird. I don't think it's all that bad, man. No further questions.
Hey, this is a judgment-free zone, brother.
Can you give us a hint about it? Like, what could
a hint about it?
Yeah.
A hint about it. What did you get baby birded?
Alcohol, obviously. Yeah, no, I've never been sober baby birded before, but I imagine if I could just drink all the time, then I would be fine with getting baby birded. I've never done food either, but
yeah, I was thinking like
that would be an issue.
That would be tough, but I think I can power through.
Nice double quarter pounder, just getting right in your mouth.
Chewing is the hardest part of eating, so why not just let someone else do it for me?
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, see, no follow-up needed on my end. So,
once again, I kind of overthought this. Now, am I on a strict diet when we're baby burden? Am I getting to pick what we're eating? And as far as pet food, dude, some of the pet food they have nowadays is like real ass food. So do I get to taste test?
Farmer's dog, yeah.
Do I get to taste test before I make a decision?
I think this is blind. You got to go into it
blind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it need to be blind.
Every time I ask for more clarification, everybody always tells me
clarification.
I'll give you that, brother.
The NyQuil is barking, boys. I don't know what to tell you.
If I'm just going blind, I can't get any of my questions answered. Jay, come baby bird me, brother. I'll be your big bird.
Hell right, brother.
Yeah, man, just 4 straight
can
dudes
move on.
talking
Yeah,
about
we can
baby bird.
We can move on. We can move on from the baby bird.
Yeah, that seems like a good point to jump off from.
Yeah, that didn't get awkward at all.
Yeah, Coops Big Bird. Next question from Badger and Bournemouth. Rank the Big Ten coaches by how much you dislike them. I mean, I feel like you almost have to look at this question from a standpoint of after PJ Fleck, who do you dislike the most after that? Because for me, he's an absolute no-brainer, fucking sleazeball loser, egotistical douchebag. Like, to me, he's sitting firmly at number 1 for me.
Mine's probably James Franklin. There's some about him. Some about him I don't like.
I don't like him either, but yeah, I don't even think you need to explain it all that much. I don't trust the guy. I wouldn't turn my back to him.
No.
Bert Bielema has got to be down there for me. Maybe even his wife.
Yeah, that's a package deal for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like most Badger fans, it's just like, yeah, I'm kind of over fucking Bert. Like, whatever, dude.
That's true. I also
like you went to Arkansas.
I have to rank the coaches. It's like
like you went to Arkansas and got your dick kicked in for most of your tenure there, and now you're doing good in like Illinois. Good for you. Like,
I want to agree with you, Coop, and say that who cares about Bert, but he just won't shut up. Like when he was losing his mind about that whole like lineman wearing a jersey.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
To then turn around and do it, it's like you're not funny or a troll. You're kind of a little bitch. Like whine. Oh, I'm gonna do it too. Look how great, how funny I am. It's like it's really not that funny. Like you were so impassioned about it. Like if you were like, all right, fine, I'll get someone else. Like I don't know. That's just super beta energy out of him. But I think like yes, who outside of PJ Fleck, who would be next? I almost feel like it's not a coach, but I feel like PJ Fleck's wife has to be next because the fact that she allows him to act like that and like go in public and I don't know. I feel like if I acted like an asshole,
money talks, brother.
I know. I feel like my wife isn't even an abusive person. I feel like I would get beat with pipes if I acted half of like PJ Fleck was. So I almost blame his wife for most of it.
Is your wife Latina?
Yeah, but
yeah, she'd do more than beat you with pipes, dude.
Yeah, good point.
Unbutton your shirt with a fucking
dog, they got some screws loose when they go a little crazy. I love it though.
Confirmed. But yeah, then I could just work my way all the way down. Like Corey Heatherman, may not
non-starter. Like,
yeah, defensive coordinator for Minnesota. Greg Harbaugh, offense coordinator for Minnesota. Like I can go through a whole bunch of coaches. You didn't say it had to be head coaches. So
Ryan's just, we're going to get down to the GAs for Minnesota. Ryan's going to move on to the next team.
you fucking bet your ass. Honorable mention, though, Schiano, he seems like just an absolute buffoon. Like
what?
I do not like that dude at all.
You're going against the family, dude?
He's part of the family.
Yeah, waste management. Yeah, he's –
wow.
Man,
I don't even know you. I don't even know you, dude. You're like I don't call Greg up right now.
Like, let's be honest. The only reason he's even remotely successful is because no one gives 2 squirts of piss at Rutgers. Because they were decent. He went to Tampa Bay, went to New England, had to be Belichick's little cum daddy. He's just hanging out with Bert Bielema. We're drawing up defensive plans. Now you're back to this dude's just a turd, man. He's not successful anywhere but Rutgers because they don't.
You're just acting like he hasn't mentored fucking legendary young men like Ray Rice and things like that.
Oh yeah, great.
Dude, I'm never going against the family. Come on now.
And J.C. Jackson, yeah.
Waste management for life.
I won't say I've got super strong opinion about this one yet, but someone I'm going to put on my watch list that I can circle back to this time next year. I'd like to put Washington head coach Jed Fish on there because he's got some pretty serious schoolboy bitch energy coming out of him over there.
He's an idiot.
Yeah,
most Pfizer wearers do.
He's been over there cock watching Oregon and like complaining about NIL pretty openly a whole bunch. Like Jed Fish is on my watch list. He's got a lot to prove to me. I'll just leave it at that.
I will tell you one of my favorite coaches in the Big Ten. Old Kirky Ferentz, dude.
Yeah,
I love Kirk. Yeah. Great head coach. Developed some really good players.
Been there 150 years.
Yeah. Like, I can fuck with Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk's dogs, man. It's NFL pipeline. It's like,
Yeah.
I was one of those ones. It's like, you absolutely hate to play them, but I will never say anything negative about Iowa just because it's like there's a good football outfit, man.
Hey, they put Burrow right away down there in Iowa, you know.
America needs farmers, bro.
A&F, baby. A&F.
That's like that Stav, or I don't know how to say his name, that Stavy clip where he's talking about like Joe Flacco and Lamar. He's like, there's just something about, like Flacco. Like, I could just trust him more than I trust Lamar. That's how I feel like Iowa fans are. It's like, there's just something about just a 4-year tight end, Kirky, that I can just trust a little more.
Yeah.
So this final question of the night is actually going to be coming to us from our own Ryan there in the bottom left corner. Is there a cockier, more entitled fan base than Penn State for literally doing nothing of relevance since the mid-'80s?
Change that question to the 90s. How about them Cowboys, baby?
Well, if I did 90s, I would have said Nebraska. But
true.
I think Ryan needs to go on his rant on this one.
Yeah, Ryan, I feel like you've probably
better,
done
right?
some homework on this, so the floor is yours.
it's just absolute, there's so many negative words I can say. I can't even put them all in the straight sentence. Every time I hear
What even
read
with F or N?
Huh?
What?
Yeah, all of them. It's just I don't understand how they could be as cocky as they are. Like, you were literally not even on, like, we were talking about tiers just a little bit ago. If you look at the last 20 years, they're not even on Wisconsin's tier. They're not on Iowa's tier. Like, what? You guys win nothing. And you could say Big Ten East, Big Ten West. Who cares? You were literally just taking bukkake from Ohio State and Michigan.
Well,
just literally. What? Every year they lost 10-2. Who'd they lose to every year? As soon as that calendar turned, time to come take this L. It's just like, I don't get why they're so cocky. You haven't won you have more child abuse scandals and issues in the last 30 years than you have had NCAA championships. Yes, you could say you won NCAA championships. None of the players and none of the kids in school have seen one of those. Most of their parents were in diapers. Like, stop acting like you're better. Like, I think this really kind of set me over the edge. I was watching a little bit of Talkin Badgers, and I love Ryan. I couldn't watch the show because this asshat he was talking to was literally acting like Penn State is the greatest thing. It's like, last time I checked, didn't JJ McCarthy and them dudes run 27 straight run plays because they knew your bitch asses couldn't stop it? Like, stop acting like you're somebody when you're nobody, bro. Like, why don't you just go win another whatever bowl that you go win that means nothing in the bowl landscape these days? Like, cool, we won a guaranteed rate bowl. Like, does anybody in Wisconsin care? No. Like, the fact that Penn State, you care. I was there and I didn't care. I just got drunk on my way.
I don't care.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know that there's a more cockier and entitled fan base. Like, Nebraska is getting there. And if I would have said the 90s, but even Nebraska, I feel like, has been a little bit humbled the last 10 years. But it's like James Franklin and Penn State every year. It's like they're 10-2, they're 10-2, 9-3. It's like, cool, you don't win anything. Like, we literally got rid of Paul Chryst because that wasn't good enough. But you're going to keep rolling out this bald-headed, Mr. Clean-looking ass, thinking you're going to do something of significance. You're not, bud.
Talk to us when you win a Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most insignificant bowl wins that I cherish.
I actually like the Las Vegas one like so much more just because there was like real NFL players in that other one.
They beat Jaden
Like
Daniels.
yeah.
And Ricky Pearsall.
There's some dudes there.
I mean, Texas A&M is a pretty entitled fan base. They literally have yell leaders that wear overalls at the game and do these stupid ass cheers, and they all try to act like, yeah, we can get going on that.
You might be onto something because have they even won a national title?
Don't know.
The fact that we don't know means probably not, which means
Yeah,
I mean, they're paying
Jimbo.
Jimbo like $100 million to like be at home.
That was the most wild hire.
Like,
it didn't even make sense when they did it.
Yeah. That and like your Ohio States and Michigans will always kind of be that way, but we've never been to that level. So it's like, okay, yeah, like you've won, so you kind of can do that.
Yeah, but they're whining and entitled because they've seen championships in their lifetime. Like the only
that's what I'm saying.
Ohio State national championship is like a 6-year-old and a newborn for Michigan. So it's like I can understand them being cocky. They've earned the right to be cocky. Penn State hasn't literally done anything since the 80s. Nothing.
Do you think that if, say, Penn State didn't make the college football playoff this year, and I understand that at this point with a 12-team field would probably mean like an absolute collapse here in the back half, but if they didn't make the college football playoff, if you were Penn State, would you feel like you had to move on from him? You know, it's one of those tough positions.
No.
Like, yes, you're winning a lot of football games, you know, and sometimes we've seen programs move on from guys and regret it, but like, you know, to Ryan's point, like you haven't taken that step. Is that something you consider? But I would take an absolute collapse at this point.
If you don't consider it, that's malpractice as just an athletic director or as a GM, however they have their shit set up. But it is highly unlikely they ever do anything after the season with James Franklin.
Maybe not on the playoffs. Maybe not quite on the same scale, but I almost compare that to like the Badger basketball team, where like who are they gonna get? Who else would they get as the coach of Penn State? Like they'd be having to take a flyer probably on somebody who's overachieving at somewhere else, because it's not like I don't think that somebody who's already an established coach at a good program is gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna go jump to Penn State. Like, why would they if they're
especially with those expectations?
Well, I think that's fair. I mean, you'd probably have to, you know, look at maybe like a failed NFL candidate or something like that. Otherwise, yeah, like you're reaching for the next big thing, you know, maybe like Wisconsin did. Like you're trying to pull from ranks below and you're looking for somebody who's proven it at a little bit lower level.
Yeah, and that always works out for everybody. You can think of like everyone that's always failed. But to your question though, I think if they did not make the college football playoff, they absolutely should fire him. And I only say that because of what's left on their schedule. Assuming they take the L to the good guys on Saturday, they have Ohio State, which would be their second loss if they were to lose. But then they got Washington, at Purdue, Minnesota, another turd, and then Maryland. So it's like
that's not happening.
but that's what I'm saying though, is if they do, and you're losing,
that would be pretty catastrophic.
Then that's what I'm saying. So yes, if they miss it, they should.
So,
but they won't. I don't think.
So let's bring this home here by making our picks for this coming Saturday. Ryan, you've already made your opinion pretty clear, but let's put some numbers on it. You're taking Wisconsin by how much?
Well, I'm getting 6.5, right?
Yeah.
So I'm taking Wisconsin plus the points, but I'm going to go money line. I'm going to take the under because the number I got here is I got Wisconsin 23-17.
That makes 30, so that would be under, yeah.
Hey, I didn't have to use an abacus this time.
23-17 is 40. What?
Oh, it's 40. Yeah, it is. I can do geography, not math. I failed math. Thank you, Jay.
I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, great. Yeah, good job.
Hey, I mean.
Still under. Either way, it's under.
Jay, where's your head at?
You guys know I love to just like hedge my happiness. But hammer the Badgers plus 6.5. I kind of like the over, though. I think it might be a shootout.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, maybe on campus after the game, but not in the game.
Okay. Too soon to joke that.
You're on the clock.
It can be Penn State minus 6.5 and the under.
Outline it, you pussy.
No, dude. Fuck you.
I'm gonna join Coop.
I'm gonna outline Oregon.
I'm taking Penn State to cover. I'll take them 24-17. I do think Wisconsin's going to give them a game, though. I think that this is going to be a matter of who makes less mistakes. And I'd love to be wrong. I do think Wisconsin does have a legitimate chance in this one. They're clicking right now. They've made significant progress on both sides of the ball. This is a chance to take down a top 3 team in Camp Randall. Hopefully the atmosphere is absolutely electric and the boys, wake up with their piss hot and ready to take down James Franklin and, hopefully, set fire to what, might lead to him getting fired at the end of the year. Because, then he's going to lose to Maryland and he's going to lose to fucking Minnesota and all those other world beaters. You mentioned Purdue. Maybe we break them. We'll see. But we'll catch you back here next week. That's going to do it for us here.
Oh, I got one more. We got geography, Dylan. We got another geography.
See, you never warned me about this shit.
I don't. I like to keep you on your toes. We'll keep it quick, though. We are in, Asia/Europe today, if you will. But I like this little blurb here, too. Looking at a map, it may seem that Russia could swallow China whole. However, did you know that both Russia and China each border 14 countries? It's quite a bit, fellas.
Didn't know that.
Well, for Russia, it's about to be 13.
I'd like to launch an investigation into geography facts because I don't think Coop is coming up with these on his own. I think he's got something feeding him these geography facts. So I'd like to launch an investigation. I will have a full report on the next podcast.
Buddy, this is literally the first one I haven't come up with by myself.
It's not me, it's the commenters.
Buddy. This one I got off Reddit. I'll give you that.
That Jay puts out there.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of DMs lately.
Don't fuck with me on geography, brother. Ryan didn't even know Nairobi was the capital of Kenya. I'm not even going to take you guys seriously right now.
All right, I think that's going to do it.
You probably didn't know that either, Jay, until I said it.
You thought 23 plus 17 was 30, so I don't want to hear
like I said, I failed math. I aced geography.
I need to wrap this up. This might go on forever.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here, folks. Thank y'all for making Talkin Badgers part of the week. And, we'll catch you back here after the game on Saturday on Wisconsin.
I'm smart.